Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and this is a Mas Agave head-to-head. So to those of you who are unfamiliar with Mas Agave, it was originally released last year as a part of Founders Barrel Age series, and this time around in 2020, they not only released the regular original Mas Agave, but they also brought out alongside it a grapefruit Mas Agave, which still tastes like a margarita, but it takes on some characteristics of a Paloma. Now, if you're interested in my reviews of 2019 Mas Agave and 2020 Mas Agave grapefruit, I'll leave links in the description below, but let's get on to this head-to-head. We're going to take a look at the labels first off. They're a little bit different there, and I've just noticed one difference that I didn't think of beforehand to even look at. I thought they'd be the same, but looking at the labels, first off, we're going to start with regular original Mas Agave. On the top is the Founders Brewing Company logo on the neck of the bottle with a bronze-colored embossing. Down on the main label itself, it says Founders Mas Agave. It's a skeletal hand with some agave in the background and a skeletal hand holding a lime with a butterfly, a monarch butterfly, on top of the lime. It says Imperial Lime Gose style ale brewed with agave aged in tequila barrels. It has the barrel-aged series seal on it, and it has Founders Brewing Company in Grand Rapids, Michigan on the side. On the back, and this is where the differences start. Now, on the top left corner, it says 10% alcohol by volume. It's a 2020 release. I thought that these two were the same. So Mas Agave, the original Mas Agave is 10%. The grapefruit version is 9.7%. So it says, Founders Mas Agave, we love cocktails, like really love them. If you ask us, few are more refreshing than the tart and tangy margarita, and our latest barrel-aged beer pays tribute to that perennial classic. We took an Imperial Gose brewed with agave, lime, and sea salt, and then aged it in tequila barrels. Consider it a party in a bottle, Mas Agave. And then this one was packaged on March 19th, 2020. I didn't realize that they were even packaged on like a month apart. So let's take a look at the grapefruit version. This one has the same Founders Brewing. The coloration on this is a little bit different, and the label itself have really small differences. Other than that, they're super similar. It has Founders Brewing across the neck and the bronze embossing. And then on the main label, it says Founders Mas Agave Grapefruit. This is still part of the Barrel Age series, still has that bronze embossing. But this one, whereas the regular Mas Agave was a little bit more of a yellowish green, limey kind of color, in the background of this one is a little bit more of an orange, a pale orange. And it has the skeletal hand holding a grapefruit with the monarch butterfly flying away, but everything else is almost the same except for the fruit in the background. The agave is the same. It really is very reminiscent of, like, again, Mexican Day of the Dead, or if you have kids and you've seen Coco, this will really remind you of Coco, like all the stuff in that movie. So then across the bottom, it says Imperial Gose style ale brewed with grapefruit and agave aged in tequila barrels. And on the back, it says, again, 9.7% alcohol by volume, so that's the difference between the two ABV-wise. This is the 2020 release. It says, the cocktail inspiration lives on. Our Imperial Gose is brewed with agave and sea salt before being aged in tequila barrels. But it doesn't end there. Once it's pulled from the barrels, it gets a dose of fresh grapefruit juice to ramp up the tanginess and to pay homage to our other favorite tequila-based cocktail, the Paloma. Sweet, salty, and mouth-puckeringly delicious. Mas Agave Grapefruit. And this one was packaged on April 27th, 2020. So this one's March 19th, 2020. This one's April 27th, 2020. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference, but I figured I'd throw it out there in case there are different batches floating around. I know for previous Founders Barrel Aged series beers, there have been different kind of vintages or different bottling dates out there. And on the top of these bottles, again, as usual, for the Barrel Age series are these gold bottle caps that say Founders Brewing Company. So I'm going to open Mas Agave first, the original Mas Agave first, and then I'm going to pour that and going to get a nose on it. I'm not going to try it, and then I'm going to open this, and that's the way that we're going to do things today. So pouring this, it's coming out a kind of lighter, rusty kind of color, maybe more of an orange. Collecting in the glass itself is a nice orange color, a little bit lighter than rust, like a lighter rusty kind of orangey color, about a finger and a half worth of head holding it up to the light. It has a lot of carbonation. It's not clear, but it's not something that's super filtered through. I mean, I can see the outline of my light here, but I can see my fingers passing through it, but not much detail. And the nose that I'm getting out of this It has a bit of that tequila aroma to it. It's a sweet aroma, and it's got a bit of a tequila kind of aroma to it too. And I am kind of picking up on a zesty lime kind of aroma. So let's go ahead and pour this Mas Agave Grapefruit. And we'll crack the top here. And nose out of the bottle. It has a very similar aroma, but it has a little bit more of a grapefruity aroma. And this one, I think I could pick up faintly on a lime. My nose isn't the best, but I think I could pick up a little bit more on a lime aroma out of that one. This one, I am getting a little bit more of a sweeter grapefruit aroma. So let's pour this. And the colors are really very similar. This one is a little bit darker of a brown. That rusty color is still there, but it's a little bit more of a brownish kind of color. And I don't know if you can see this at home, but I'm gonna, well, let me sniff this and we'll hold up the light. It has about the same, maybe a little bit more of a head, about 2 fingers worth of head here. Holding it up to the light, it's, again, not filtered all the way through. It's not clear, but you can see some carbonation rising up. I can see the outline of my light, like the entire box of that, and I can see shadow of my finger, but I can't see a whole lot of detail. And nose on the glass here. Yeah, it just has a little bit more of a citrus, like a deeper grapefruit aroma to it, whereas this one had a little bit more of a lime. They're both citrus, but what I wanted to get at is if you look at these, I don't know if you can see this side by side. I can't really get much more of a close-up than, or even just the overhead. I don't know if I'll put that in here, but this one's a little bit more of a darker, rusty kind of copper color, where this one is more of a lighter copper. It's a little bit more of a bronzy color, so it's not nearly as dark. But again, this is going to be probably really hard to see side by side like this, that these are even different at all. So I'm going to go ahead and try and jump into the Mas Agave Grapefruit, or I'm sorry, the regular original Mas Agave first. Woo! That sounds like little shivers down my spine. So it's got that nice thick mouthfeel, like you would expect out of a margarita. It's got a really nice lime kind of flavor in there. The Gose, the salt from the Gose really mixes well in with this style, because margaritas, generally have salt on the rims of the glasses. Taste a lot of the lime. You get a lot of that. You get a lot of the barrel characteristic in there, and the tequila and the lime mixed together really well. So it's a nice, really smooth 10% beer, a really nice smooth, you could sip it. You could probably drink it really quick. I would advise probably sipping it and having a few less, because you might be regretting it if you don't sip these and just kind of down them. So we're going to move on to the grapefruit. It's got that same mouthfeel, maybe a little bit lighter. I think the grapefruit version, I'm like salivating all over myself drinking these. Same mouthfeel. The it might actually be a little bit lighter, though. Like I said, I think the grapefruit might be just a little bit lighter, and the flavor is just different enough. So you still get a lot of that sweet citrus flavor, a little bit of like a malty characteristic in there as well. You get the tequila barrel flavor, but you get, instead of having, this one is really, and the saltiness is the same, so that's in there. That's nice. It makes you kind of, like I said, it makes you salivate. You lick your lips a little bit. This one, the lime flavor, the lime characteristic of it comes through really strongly, whereas I think on this, the grapefruit is a little bit more subdued. It's a little bit more smooth. It's a little bit, less in your face with the grapefruit. It's definitely in there. It's definitely a strong flavor of the beer, but it's not the one that, it doesn't like just punch you in the face with grapefruit, whereas I think with the regular original version, you get a little bit more of that lime characteristic. It really comes out. You really get that nice, strong lime flavor. And I think with the grapefruit version, you don't get so much. I think, and this is going to be maybe a weird statement to say, this one, the tequila comes out, the tequila flavor, the agave comes out a little bit more on the finish, but it's a little bit, it's just a little bit smoother. There's something about it. If you're not a lime person, then this one's not going to be for you. If I had to pick between the two, it's really tough to pick between the two, because what I really like about the grapefruit version is that grapefruit's there. You get a little bit more of the agave, but you get a little bit more of the tequila. And I like tequila, so I like that I can taste it. Whereas with the lime version, it's a little bit saltier. It's got a little bit more of that lime flavor. That you get a little bit more, not so much tequila flavor. You get more of the barrel flavor out of this one, whereas you get more of the tequila flavor out of the Mas Agave grapefruit. But this one, again, sweet. It's got a lot of that barrel characteristic. They're both really sweet, but I think you get a little bit more of the malty flavor out of the grapefruit version. The regular version, I think you get a little bit more of the agave, and you get a little bit more of that tequila kind of, I don't know, barrel kind of punch to it. Not so much the tequila itself, but more the barrel, whereas this one, I think you get a little more of the tequila flavor itself. So if I had to pick between one or the other, I think I might go with the grapefruit because it is just that little bit smoother. It's a little bit lower ABV, but again, in something like this, you're not tasting it really anyways, or at least I'm not. I think if I gave it to someone that's not a beer drinker, they might take just one drink of it and say, yeah, whoa, this is really strong. But being someone that drinks beer often enough, you know, obviously I make these videos and you guys watch them and you guys drink beer enough, I don't think you'll notice that they are extremely over the top boozy, but they do have a different, they do have a different taste characteristic. Again, this follows more of that tequila, margarita. They actually get more of the barrel again, so you get more of the margarita kind of style characteristic out of this. And I've never had a Paloma, but I imagine, like, you know, that this is what a Paloma tastes like. It's a little bit sweeter, a little less offensive with the lime. The salt level is good on both. I really enjoy that. I really like Goses for that quality. I really love that saltiness. So if I had to pick between the two, if I had to wipe one off the earth and I could never have it again, but I'd pick, you know, it's not. They're both really good and they're really great beer. I would think I would go with the Mas Agave Grapefruit just because I like the sweetness that comes through a little bit more. But I think that the Mas Agave, if you know somebody that's a margarita drinker, definitely has a place. I wouldn't kick either of these out of bed. I'm glad I don't have to make a decision to wipe either of these off the face of the earth, but I would love, 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 love to see more varieties of this in the future. All right, friends, that has been Mas Agave, the original, and Mas Agave Grapefruit. Again, a little bit more for the tequila crowd, or a little bit more for the margarita crowd, a little bit more for the Paloma crowd. Have you had both of these? Have you been able to compare these head to head? What other varieties of Mas Agave would you like to see in the future? Let us know in the comments down below while you're down there. If you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell because I'm here talking about beer twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sometimes little extras and beer briefs that aren't necessarily in the state, but could be from anywhere. And you never know, you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.